I want to take a step back with closed captioning because you mentioned that's where you got your start. It's really one of those things I think we take for granted in modern media. It's just something that's there. But what was it like in the early days? What kind of innovations did you have to get into to really advance closed captioning and make it something that becomes a standard, becomes a part of law, becomes something that we can expect and eventually take for granted?
Yeah, I love the pervasiveness of closed captioning today and how it's ubiquitous because it sure wasn't like that in the early days. I think my job was CBO, Chief Begging Officer. And that's what our life was about, trying to get TV networks and producers to accept the fact that we wanted to put words up on the screen, getting their permission, of course, developing the technology to inject this data into the TV signal and create a secondary master that had the data in it. So it mean we had to step down a generation at the time. That was radical because the quality of the image was really key. And then how do you distribute it nationally? So we had to twist a lot of arms. We had to be resilient. We had to wake up every day knowing it's going to be another battle. But people who are in this field, particularly the OG broadcasters, they kind of love this idea of taking this long-standing broadcast technology and enhancing it in this really interesting way. The idea a consumer could push a button on this external box and have the words appear on screen was kind of magical. And I think kicked off this whole notion of personalized media in so many ways. But we had to deal with encoding and embedding and the data transfer, authoring tools. We had to invent them. There wasn't any authoring tools to create captions. We created a version of WordPerfect that had time code in it. It was some crazy times. And PBS, of course, we were working for public broadcasting. They embraced it immediately as a part of their mission. Interestingly, both CBS and ABC came on board very quickly. They saw the benefits as well. So with these major commercial networks, things began to flow. Uh, Then we figured out how to put it onto a VHS tape, which was a unique situation. But all of it was about innovators and people who felt like adding a social benefit to the technology that they were creating in the business was something that enhanced their lives. And of course, working with deaf people and to see how that changed their experience and their interest in media, particularly deaf kids. The kids who grew up with closed captioning and the effect on their literacy skills was magical. Really, it was a hockey stick curve in terms of exposure to language. And interestingly, people who were immigrants to the US and studying English as a second language would use closed captions to learn English rapidly. So all these benefits came together, helped significantly by the legislation that I discussed. And little by little, it grew and grew with the laws then requiring it and then transferring it to other platforms. We created a community of people who really said, yes, we're going to develop this. The first version of QuickTime from Apple supported captions, QuickTime 1.0, and so did Microsoft with their video player, the real networks. They all said, yes, having text on the screen helps a lot. Search engine optimization by having text to search on. So the begging became more facilitating and befriending. And I think the love of technology really advanced it for everyone.